As a beginning agent when I first came on board, um, it was almost like I felt intimidated to ask these people for their socials, not their date of birth necessarily, but their socials. I almost felt like, ooh, I'm asking you for like the secret code, you know, their banking information. Oh God, forget that, you know. Now I'm like tapping into their assets kind of vibe. So when I realized that when I was hesitant about it, it reflected. So then they were hesitant about it. You know, they're like, well, I don't know. You know, last time I did this, they went and charged me, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go through with it. So one of our things, part of our speech, where we wrap it up at the end, you know, the closing of it is, hey, just so that we're clear, all we're trying to do today is see if we can even get you approved. Uh, but you know, we're going up to bat. We're going to see what we can get you. Well, that's great, but guess what? Some of these people are really healthy, and some of them, yes, they took 5, 6 weeks, way too long to get approved. Some of them get approved the next day, and that's going to be problematic with some clients when you're just telling them, hey, all we're trying to do is see if we can get you approved, and then the next day they're drafted from their account, and they're like, what the hell, like, you know? So one thing that I feel like for me was the issue is that I wasn't clear with these clients. With one, you shouldn't be hesitant with asking for their information. And obviously we ask that towards the end, and it's part of the script where it's like, look, obviously nothing will be drafted from your account. All we're trying to see is if you could even get approved. If and when you get approved, though, if you were to get approved, let's say if they're telling you I'm on no meds, I'm 30 years old, I'm squeaky clean, super fresh, you know they're going to go non-med foresters, get approved probably within the hour, you know. So now you have to be very clear with your client and stating, once you collect this information, the banking info, without any hesitation, if they do give you some hesitation, one of the objections is going to be, okay, well, I can't, honestly, obviously, like I'm telling you, I can sit here and promise you that nothing will be drafted, but I could also promise you that I can't go up to bat for you if I don't collect this information, because this application is considered incomplete. The insurance companies won't even take it as a complete application, you know. So that being said, I mean, I collect this information. I know for you it seems a little, you know, it's my banking info, and trust me, you know, we do everything to protect all of your information, your private information here, but keep in mind that I have to collect this in order for this to be considered a complete app and be able to go up to bat for you, you know. And at that point, you're trying to overcome that resistance that they have, you know. Like I collect this all day, every single day. So if either you want me to go up to bat for you, or all right, we just have to close this up, and I got to walk away. So otherwise, that trust is not here, you know. So they trust me. There's no way that they're not going to provide it for you at that point, you know. But back to bringing that point where you're telling this client, hey, I need your banking info, whatever, you've already overcome the objection. Now you want to be very specific with them and say, if and when you got approved, because that's what we want to go for, right? You want to see if you get approved. If you got approved tomorrow, what would be a comfortable draft date for you? Today's the 10th. Is the 11th a good draft date, any day of the month? Or are you very peculiar about, no, I only like things out of my bank account on the 15th or the 30th? And at that point, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, you're right. If I do get approved, they're going to draft, you know. So, no, I like stuff. People tell me I like it on the 30th. Only on the 30th I like stuff. I'll take it out of my account. Or they say, no, I just want the coverage, man. Whatever I can get, just whenever I can get it, just have them draft. If they draft tomorrow, cool. So you'll have now that out of the way. So if, let's say they are foresters, because with foresters, that's not an issue. That's a great thing. But that seems to be an issue with some clients that I've had in the past. It doesn't happen anymore, but it did when I was a new agent. But I was like, oh, we're just trying to see if you get approved. And then, boom, they got approved. And the next day, they're like, what the hell? You just came here, and now they drafted $100. I'm like, oh, you didn't want that? Like, I thought that's what we're going up to bat for. They're like, no, I don't like it drafted till the 15th. You know, so now I was like, I wasn't clear. So that's one thing that I wanted to basically include or share with you guys to say, be very specific and don't be hesitant about banking information, and don't be hesitant about asking them, when is it okay for us to take the money out? You know, once we get you the approval, because that's what I'm here for, when can we draft for you from your account and have it be a comfortable day for you? And I think that will avoid not chargeback necessarily, but that uncomfortable of, I thought you were just trying to go up to bat, and now, you know, I'm bound to this contract kind of vibe. So, I mean, obviously that's what they want. They want to be insured, but they like to be in control as to when they like to have that enforced and for how much. Maybe they thought, you know, 200K was cool, but you know what? I talked to my wife, now I want 500K, you know? So we want to up the coverage. So whatever. But you want to maintain that relationship by making sure they're not drafted from their account without their approval, because that will really jeopardize, it'll taint a little bit the relationship. You'll have to just figure out how to make it, you know, one, salvage the relationship, and two, business. So that's, do you guys have any questions? when it comes to that?
I have a question. Delayed, if it is a delayed payment, and they have conditional insurance and they get accepted, is it because it's conditional? Does it not start until the specified draft date?
What did you mean by delayed payment? I think that's where I wasn't really.
Well, you've taken the banking information and they got approved tomorrow,
Uh-huh.
but they don't want it to be pulled out of their account till the 30th, 2 weeks from now. So, do they have conditional coverage during that period of time?
No, it won't get issued till they're drafted. So it won't, sorry. So the policy, it will be conditionally issued because they're approved, but they won't get placed in force and it will be considered an active application. So insurance company has basically drafted their first payment.
Okay.
Just to add on to what Carla was saying, for the conditional receipt, they do have the option to be covered throughout the underwriting process. But if they do decide to go forth with that process, with the conditional receipt, conditionally they have no medical impairments, they'll go ahead and drop the first month's premium. So they're aware that immediately once we submit the application, they will be drafted for the first month's premium. For whatever reason, they are denied for the insurance company will reimburse them for the monthly premium that they paid, and the insurance is canceled out. But
That's what,
that's the conditional receipt.
is that the TIA also?
Yeah, the temporary insurance premium, it's a conditional receipt. So now, just to make sure that you're aware, or for everyone, just to make it clear, the policy is not placed in force until one, it's delivered and the first due payment has been paid. So it's not effective until that actually it gets completed. So the delivery receipt and the first month's premium. That's when the insurance coverage is effective.
I'll add to that too, because sometimes you'll have pending business there and then it'll get conditionally issued and you're like, oh, it's issued, I'm getting paid on it next week. And then it'll probably sit there for a week or two and you're like, why is it not getting paid out? There's times where I have clients and it's called an amendment. So there's an amendment to their policy. Let's say I went up to bat for them at preferred and they commit standard. So now we have to have an amendment to the policy because they have a health, but even better. Yeah, there's different. The offer acceptance is different than what we initially applied for. So that being said, there will be an amendment that will be available with some carriers. Will be available for you to print out or send to your client so that they can sign and agree. Yeah, like now the policy is going to be issued at standard instead of preferred, or preferred instead of standard. And once that signature is applied and sent back to the carrier, then they'll place it in force. It's something as little as that, like an amendment or just the slightest little requirement, a agent report or something that you might have wrong. Yeah, delivery receipt that can hold your business from getting paid out and the client being issued. And if that can be an issue, because with one of my clients, they were issued in October, and then we couldn't reschedule. Something happened, so we didn't reschedule until November. November came, the end of November. They're like, yeah, put it in force, put my IUL in force. But the guy now has like the save age. He's like, no, it's not save age, so we issued it as is. So for December come, the end of November, they charged him for 2 months, he was fine. 5 days later, now he gets charged another $100 for the month of December, So he's like, what the heck? In the past 3 days, I've been charged $500 from your account for my wife and my policy. And I'm like, well, it comes with the fact that we issued this, or we applied in October. We didn't save age. We wanted to have it issued as of that date. So this is, and it's little things like that will come up, but just be very careful with the dates and the issue. I mean, the dates that they wanted to enforce and when they want drafted. Because if he'll stay there, if you apply, let's say right now in December, the client doesn't get back to you till like mid-January, and they're like, oh yeah, let's put it in force. Now they're going to get drafted for 2 months, and you and them have to be aware of that, because then that's also going to cost the business, So timing is crucial.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can continue going on the process of many things, how to go, ways that we can overcome these situations. There's many ways to go about it. Placing the policies in force, getting the policy deliveries, receipts taken care of prior to you seeing your client. Those are things that we can definitely discuss, go further into, like, once we're closing out these deals. But what Carla's saying is very important. You guys make sure that, when you submit these applications, it's that all parties are in agreement, that once you get approved, But this is something that you guys are comfortable moving forward with, right? We don't just submit applications because we like to. You know, it's because they're serious about this type of coverage and this is what they're going to move forward with. And, you know, if they get a better rate because they're in good health, well, shit, great. We're heroes, right? But this is what they're comfortable with doing with when we submit these applications. So, you know, things like that can occur, where, you know, there's a specific draft date, and they get approved after that draft date. There are ways that we could place it in force, with the client's consent. They understand that it's 2 days after their first withdrawal date. We'll allow them to place it in force, and then have agreements that in the following month they'll go ahead and draft how you desire. And just to clarify what Carla was saying, I know this is not a huge thing, but it's important for you guys to understand. It's only the preferred withdrawal date can only be chosen from the 1st through the 28th of every month, because some months are shorter. So it's only the 28th. That's the last day that they can choose. So that's not a huge thing, but it's important to know that, because there are clients that are like, no, it's only on the 30th, but you know, you can explain to them that there are shorter months, so we can't draft, you know, on that day. So it's just important for you guys to have that understanding. But really good job, Carla. I'm glad that you did touch on that, because it's extremely important. That determines whether or not you get paid. So that's extremely important.
There's so many steps to getting paid.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, it's a whole process that, you know, that comes along to getting compensated. But you know, we get compensated at the level that we do for the work that we do. So okay. Tucker, is there anything